Hello again and welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Ariel and I am talking about plants again today. We are going on an early spring herb walk. It is early April and the forest that I live in the Pacific Northwest is just busting up with flowers and new growth. Today we are going to look at and talk about Bracken fern, which are fiddleheads, which are edible and controversial, which is always fun. We are going to look at licorice fern, the root, trailing blackberry, salmonberry, and Indian plum. I'm going to talk about medicinal uses, herbal facts, and potential culinary uses of these plants. All right, let's get into it. The first plant we see here is salmonberry. You can tell it is salmonberry because the leaves look like little butterflies and they are trifoliate, which means they have 3 leaves at the top and they are in an alternate shape, which means that they grow opposite of each other. This is a new shoot and I'm gonna eat it and it is delicious, but only these baby new shoots taste good, kind of like once they leaf out a little bit, they're more dry tasting because of their high tannin content and they're not as good. The Latin name for salmonberry is Rubus spectabilis, and being in the Rubus genus, it is closely related to blackberries and raspberries, and it will produce a similar looking fruit called the salmonberry in just a few months here. We are still talking about the salmonberry shoots because they are what is here right now, and they are chock full of vitamins and minerals, most notably potassium and iron. Yes, if you are a human female, it is likely that you are potentially iron deficient, and so salmonberry shoots would be a great part of your diet, as long as you're harvesting them from a clean place, because like a lot of plants, salmonberries can bioaccumulate toxins. I am in the middle of the forest, and there's not really a lot of industry around, so this is just fine. The next plant that I see is the beautiful licorice fern, Polypodium glycyrrhiza. It is an epiphytic plant, meaning that you can only find it growing on trees. And so this is on a maple tree. I'm pointing out its tiny little root because the root is the edible part here of this licorice fern, and true to name, it tastes like licorice. A little more bitter than licorice, but it has the same component, which is glycyrrhizin, along with another chemical, polypodicide. That is what gives it its sickly sweet characteristic licorice flavor. The Salish Native Americans of this area used licorice fern root much in the same way that the Europeans and Asians used licorice for sore throats and colds, and that's because the glycyrrhizin does heal sore throats and colds. Like regular licorice, licorice fern root is really good for your skin and digestive lining. It kind of coats it, but you want to be careful if you tend towards high blood pressure because it could theoretically raise your blood pressure a little bit. I got really lucky when I went for a walk in the woods today because there's not a lot of people here, and so I can freely be weird and film things as I please. And here we have the Indian plum, aka Osoberry. Its Latin name is Osmaronia cerasiformis, and just like a regular plum, Indian plum also produces a small stone fruit that I like the taste of, but probably other people don't. But here we have the leaves, and they are what is in season right now. This is Indian plum leaf, and it tastes like slightly bitter cucumber. It's present in abundance here, and so I think it's okay to take a little bit, but I have left some for the deer and the squirrels. Is this channel becoming Ariel Eats Weird Things in the Forest? Because if it is, I'm okay with that, I guess. You can identify Indian plum by its alternately arranged leaves with smooth edges, and they are about 3 inches long usually, and they resemble actual plum leaves. There is so much I could talk about in these woods, but I don't have all day, so I'm going to talk about our native trailing blackberry, Rubus ursinus. As you can see, the leaves are very small and look a lot like salmonberry, except it grows with a sticky trailing vine with lots of brambles, and it's just like a little fuzzier. Those were wild trailing blackberry shoots, and being very closely related to salmonberry, they are used in the same way. You can eat the new tips, but I don't think they taste as good, so I'm going to leave them alone, but I'll show you more. Here you can see the very thin, small blackberry vines going everywhere. if I actually zoomed out and could pick it out, it would probably cover the entire forest floor. That's just how they grow. They grow very low to the ground, but they cover everything. And, you know, the prickles hurt a little bit, but they're not that bad. Oh, I see something else here. This strange alien-looking plant is a Bracken fern fiddlehead. It's called a fiddlehead because this is baby form when it is edible, and it is all curled up like the head of a violin. These ferns are prolific and can be found in many countries, and they are all over these woods and probably in yours too. And there weren't enough for me to harvest today, but maybe I will do that in a future episode. Ferns are one of the oldest plant species on the planet. They are very strange, and they coexisted with dinosaurs, and I love them so much that I have one tattooed behind my ear. They are Bracken fern fiddleheads, and they are mostly edible, with some exceptions, which I will explain to you shortly. I really like them. If there was more, I would pick them and show you how to prepare and stir fry them for minimum toxicity, but they're so delicious. They taste like asparagus, kind of. If you love Korean food, you'll know that Bracken fern fiddlehead is a big ingredient in bibimbap and a couple other traditional Korean dishes. And so, yeah, Bracken ferns are found all over the world, and they are delicious but slightly toxic. So you have to process them with heat and salt and water to remove as much of the toxins as possible. I think fiddleheads are more good for you than bad for you, especially since the window that you can harvest them is so small, so you're only eating them a couple times a year, and they are very high in vitamin A and essential fatty acids. I'm just wandering around and looking around at anything else I could possibly talk about. I'm probably about to wrap it up and go home, but look, lo and behold, I see a big old Indian plum tree. That is so good. I mean, technically it's not a tree, it's more of a shrub or a bush, but this is a much larger stand than I was expected, and so I actually get to harvest some. Since this is a pretty common plant, I am just going to follow the roughly 1 in 20 harvesting rule, where I harvest about a 20th of the stand. So for me, that's like a decent handful of leaves. I think I got like 9 bunches of them. This is me harvesting all of them super fast. Whee! I'm gonna make a tincture out of this. For those of you that don't know, a tincture is an alcohol extract of a plant, and the reason I'm making one isn't so much for like medicinal purposes, but because I like the smell, and the alcohol will extract like some of the flower water, and then I can use it kind of as a perfume. Is that weird? I don't know. I once met a lady who never bought salad or salad greens or any sort of edible green things from the supermarket. She just went to the woods and got it. She was like, why would I go buy green vegetables when I could literally go pick it out in the woods? And she ate a lot of Indian plum herself. Here's a little guy that I didn't mention before. This is Oregon grape, and I've talked about Oregon grape in previous videos. I'm not harvesting the root today because it is in flower, and I just wanted to show you how beautiful the little Oregon grape flowers were. And here I am running away from another person innocently walking in the woods. Why am I so awkward? Well, mostly it's because I don't want to film somebody without their permission, and also because I feel awkward filming myself and talking about plants. I just feel awkward all the time. Does anyone else suffer from this condition? Probably. Hello, say hi in the comments. And here I am heading out, and I wanted to mention real quick before I go that this is a county park, and so you are allowed to take small amounts of herbal materials out. Alright guys, that is it for the video. I hope you join me next time I go on an herb walk, which might even be next week or the week after, pretty soon, because there are just new trees and plants blooming every day here, and that is so cool. Anyway, like, subscribe, do all the YouTube things. I appreciate you, and I will see you next Friday. Bye!